We've all probably had the thought experiment put before us with that question: if you were sent to a deserted island or a desert island, and you could bring one thing, what would you bring? Or maybe you could bring one person. Who would you bring? And it's a good thought experiment. But our gospel today takes that thought experiment and makes it even more extreme. Takes it to the most extreme. If we were stranded in a desert and we could bring no one or nothing, what would we do? Who would we be without the stuff and all the relationships of our life? Who would you be without the stuff and relationships of your life, without family, without friends? Who would you and I be without jobs and our careers? Who would you and I be without those ways in which we apply our skills and our gifts and our talents? Who would we be? Who would we be without our hobbies, without our money, without air conditioning, without heat, and without luxury? Who would you and I be without phones and technology, social media? Who would we be without influence, without power, without control? Who would we be without the necessities, without housing, without ways of learning, without food? Who would we be without any number of drinks that we can just simply reach into our cold refrigerators and grab? Who would you and I be without all the stuff and the relationships of our lives? If we were let out into a desert and we could bring no one and nothing, I think I would not be alive. That's what I think. I don't know if I could actually survive that. I think I would be dead. And Satan would have us believe otherwise. He would have us believe otherwise, that in fact we are the sum of these things of our life, and if we did not have them, we would be dead. Satan would have us believe that we are invincible. We are all-powerful. We are in control and rule everything. We are the masters of our universe. And this is exactly what he tempts our Lord with in his humanity today. He says, you can do anything you want. You are all-powerful. You are the Son of God. Command that these stones be turned into bread. And our Lord resists that temptation. He says, you are the Son of God. You are invincible. Nothing, no harm is ever going to come to you. Throw yourself down from this parapet, from this rooftop. You are the Son of God. You are the master of your universe and the entire universe. If you would but worship me, I will give you all of these kingdoms to control and to rule over. Satan would have us believe that you and I are God. And he tempts us with this temptation not so directly as he does our Lord today, but through the stuff and the people of our life. He tempts us with that original sin through the stuff and people of our life, saying, we are the sum of these things that we have. We are the sum of these relationships that we have. And through these things, we are all powerful. We are invincible. And we are the masters of our universes. And he would have us believe that without these things, without invincibility, without all powerfulness, without the ability to control and be masters, that we would die. Without the sum of our life as things in relationships, we would die. And that is the original temptation. That is the original sin that Adam and Eve, in fact, gave into. The belief in the lie that they are God. The belief in the lie that they can be all-powerful. That they are, in fact, invincible. That they are, in fact, masters of their own universe. But as disciples of Christ, we know that is wrong. We know, in fact, that temptation, that lie, is, in fact, what leads to death, eternal death. Eternal expulsion from God's presence and relationship. Rather, the truth is found in our gospel today. Who would you and I be without these things? Without our relationships? If we were forced into the desert, where we could bring no one and nothing, we would be as Jesus was and is, the sons and daughters of a Most High God. That is who we are. That is what gives life. And guys, it is no longer a thought experiment. It is made real in the gospel today, because this gospel is the pattern of our entire Lenten practice and season. Just as Christ was driven out into the desert by the Spirit for 40 days and 40 nights, relying on nothing and no one except his identity in his Father, so must our Lenten season be. We are in the desert, and we are invited to rely less and less this season on the stuff of our life, on the relationships, good or bad, of our life, and to grow in that identity that is the foundational truth of who you and I are, sons and daughters of God. And it is in that truth that we live. It is in that truth that we do not die, as Satan would have us believe, as temptation would have us believe. It is in living simply and solely and fundamentally as sons and daughters of God that we have life in God. And more than that, that we become God-like through his generous love.